Hi guys, and welcome to another quick video tutorial. My name is Manny, and in today's tutorial I want to show you guys part 7 about Photoshop basics and tools. If you haven't viewed any of the rest, please fall back in the blogs. Alright, so in today's tutorial, pretty much again, just want to show you guys 2 new tools, and that is pretty much the blur tool, sharpen tool, smudge tool, then also the dodge and burn tool and sponge tool. Alright, so let's get started on the blur tool really quickly. Today I'm just going to say Command J, again duplicate my layer, or say Control J for my Windows friends. Then we're going to rename that to retouch layer over here. Alright, so let's get working on the retouch layer. I'm just going to zoom in very closely now, and basically if, okay, something weird happening here, if I'm very close to the eye now, I'm going to use my blur tool now. As you guys can see already at the top, our application menu has changed again. So in here some presets, some brush sets again, your brush panel if you want to, mode you can choose again from a few different blending options in here. Then obviously your strength, how strong you want to apply that blurring effect, and sample on all layers, no you don't want that. So just on our current layer we're going to blur a little bit. So what it does, like it says already, blurring, so if I'm going to go over the eye, it just breaks those pixels and blurs quite a lot. Sometimes comes in handy if you Photoshop, but to be honest, don't use it too much. Rather go to filters and work with blur over here and Gaussian blur or some different blurs effects over here. That I would prefer. Okay, then over here again, sharpen tool. Also, I'm not a fan of the sharpen tool. Again, here at the top, all our applications pretty much the same like the blur effect. Then with sharpen, you can just go over here, over your area, and it will sharpen that a little bit. Basically, it just breaks more and more pixels and just sharpens those edges. For me, not really a useful tool at all. I never use this tool on my images. Rather, again, go onto filter and just say sharpen here and use sharpen edges or unsharp mask and use with these filters. So that's one tool again. Smudge tool also. Same application menu as well again, and pretty much what smudge tool also does, if you hold down your pen or your mouse and click, and you can just smudge areas like I can do now at the moment. You can also drag areas a little bit. To be honest, I also don't work a lot with this tool, rather working with the filter and liquefier. But if you want to create some really artistic effects, you can really use this tool and just go nuts with it. To be honest, I don't really use it a lot. Then as well, what I want to talk quickly, I just want to go and delete my retouch layer and create that again, just so that we are fresh from a new start. What I want to talk about is the dodge and burn tool. Pretty much just down here, dodge and burning tool. Now what the dodge and burn tool is like back in the days where you were like in the dark room and dodge and burning stuff on the images just to brighten the background or lighten or darken the background, lighten the foreground. That stuff applies exactly to the same way like we do today. Just nowadays with Photoshop you use dodge tool. Especially at the top we've got a new application menu, again some new brush nibs and brush sizes. You can again change your brush panel over here, adjust your brush just on its own. Then range, you can say shadows, midtones or highlights. These come in very handy, so work with this. I mostly use midtones, or if I work in the shadows, obviously shadows. If I'm working on the highlights, you can use the highlights. Now I'm going to use the highlights and exposure, not normally going to set my exposures to 50%, normally at 10%, and always keep it as 10% and work it a little bit, so you're not overdoing it. Then protect tones, yes, I want to protect my tones. Then also another trick quickly, Control Alt again. With my brush, I don't use a hard edge. I use a very feathered edge, then take it all the way down. And now I'm just applying it a little bit to the nose and just dodging there a little bit. Over here on the cheeks, maybe you want to just dodge that highlights a little bit. I can change that again and go back to my midtones. And this basically means that I'm painting in here next to the nose and just dodging these midtones a little bit over here as well. And as you guys can see, I'm stroking and stroking and stroking, so I'm applying it a little bit, not too much, not all on one and just going nuts. Apply it a little bit and a little bit. Okay, say on the teeth maybe, or even if you want to do it in the shadows, just select the shadows, and then over here you have to apply it again. You can also change your exposure up, say to 50% almost. And then you can do it in here, and you can see that it starts to get brighter and brighter and brighter, but it just breaks more and more pixels. So in the future, I'm going to show you another trick how to do this, or how to do this actually better. For now, this comes in handy just if you like want to highlight the areas that are highlighted, or want to work a little bit in the highlights. Then also the burn tool pretty much works exactly the opposite. It just darkens areas or burns areas again. So if you want to just darken your areas a little bit, you can darken that actually on the skin a little bit, on the hairs a little bit, so you can darken everything in here. So we're working in the midtones again. I'm going to go to shadows and turn that up to say 20%. And now I can actually burn that just on the hair a little bit and just create a little bit more of depth in that hairs. And just like I show you guys now, I'm just stroking, not too much, just apply with one big stroke and painting, because then you're darkening it quite a lot. Stroke, not all at once. Okay, so that's also how I work with a burn tool. And then sponge tool comes in handy sometimes if you want to either desaturate or saturate a little bit. But to be honest, I don't really work a lot with this tool. I would rather go to adjustment layers and create a hue and saturation layer, adjustment layer over here. Back to our navigator there, back to our panel over here, and what it basically does with the sponge tool, as you guys can also see, our application bar changed again here at the top. You have two different modes, either saturate or desaturate. So I'm going to say desaturate now, and you can use the flow to 100% or say 50%. Okay, I'm just going to back that 50%. And now basically when you paint, say I'm painting over the skin, it will just desaturate the skin all the way. So I'm just painting all over this, and you can just desaturate stuff. The more you paint, the more it desaturates, and more desaturating. Okay, if I'm going to change my mode over here to saturate, and say for instance I'm going to paint on the arm and on the skin, have a look how more and more color intensive it gets. More saturation and more. It just burns out those pixels already. So like I said before, not too much of a fan of this tool. I rather go over to adjustment and create a hue and saturation layer and do it manually, and I can later on trigger it a little bit more or a bit less and tune that again a little bit. Okay, yeah, so basically this was my quick tutorial about those new tools. My name is Manny. Thank you guys for watching, and see you all next week in another small tutorial. Bye bye.